Hello ladies and gentlemen, once again welcome to our channel. I do hope that you're doing fine and I do hope that your weekend is absolutely well. Now, the Guusi community is never left behind when it comes to application of top government positions. Recently, they had Charles Ayako Nyachae appearing for the top IBC position. And what has it that he is likely to clinch that chairperson for the IBC position? However, we'll be waiting to see what will come out of the interview panel. But putting that aside, KISII have found themselves where they are fronting two presidential candidates for the 2027 general election. And that is David Maraga, the former Chief Justice, who did a very recommendable job when he was the Chief Justice, and Fred Okengo Matiangi, who also performed very well when he was appointed Cabinet Secretary during the times of Uhuru Kenyatta, performing very well in the Ministry of ICT and in the Ministry of Education. Ladies and gentlemen, however, these two individuals are from the same community. They will have to be blessed by the same Council of Elders. So, who is going to receive the blessings of the Council of Elders from the Guusi community? Who is going to be fronted by the people of the Guusi region? Because it won't make sense that both David Maraga and Fred Okengo Matiangi are both running for presidency and they expect to get the Guusi support. One of them must be asked to step aside for the 2027 presidency. And you can agree with me that whenever communities are sitting down to plan politics, they have always fronted one presidential candidate. They have always wanted to support one presidential candidate. Whoever insists doesn't get the support of the community. In 2022, we saw President Ruto getting the entire support of the Kalenjin community. Before that, in 2013, Uhuru Kenyatta was entirely supported by the people of the Mount Kenya region. In 2017, equally, Uhuru Kenyatta was again supported by the people of the Mount Kenya region. So, the Guusi people must go back to the drawing board and decide who is going to stand for that top office position come in 2027 general election. And in this analysis, we want to look who has that potential, who is likely to be supported by the Guusi people, who is at a better chance of winning the 2027 presidency. And without further ado, let's get into it. But if you're watching this channel for the first time, take a second to subscribe to our channel so that we can grow together. So, the first question you ask yourself is, why are these two persons running for presidency? Who are the persons behind them? Number one is that Fred Okengo Matiangi was fronted by the Jubilee Party, but of course he was the first one to come out or to be declared before David Kenani Maraga was fronted by the Gen Z. Fred Okengo Matiangi had been fronted by the Jubilee Party, and the KISIIs had started preparing their vote for for Fred Okengo Matiangi. Actually, the period that the Guusi community decided that they're going to front they're going to front Fred Okengo Matiangi is when the broad-based government was being formed and ministry positions were given to the Raila Odinga, who the Guusi community have supported for quite a long period. And when the Guusi community missed being given one of those CS positions, remember that there were two CS that went to the Luo Nyanza, one to Western Oparanya, and one to the coastal region that was given to Ali Hassan Joho. But the Guusi community felt that they had been sidelined by their person they had really supported for a long time, and that was Raila Odinga. And that's the time they started to front Fred Okengo Matiangi. That's when people started campaigning or started pushing for the standing of Fred Matiangi to run for the 2027 presidency. That was the beginning of Fred Matiangi, and Fred Matiangi, of course, received a good reception nationally. Jubilee Party fronting him. Even meetings, there was a meeting that was held by Jubilee Party leader, that's President Uhuru Kenyatta, and people felt that Fred Matiangi could get that national outlook and could get a significant number of votes nationally. Now, let's talk about Kenani Maraga, David Kenani Maraga. David Kenani Maraga was fronted especially by the Gen Z. Gen Z started pushing for the presidency of David Maraga, especially those who are opposed with the presidency of Matiangi and the other candidates who are in the line of running for the 2027 presidency. And David Kenani Maraga is being fronted by the Gen Z because of his ability to withstand corruption. He nullified the 2017 general election, and that one made him very popular. And before the appointment, his appointment to the judiciary as the Chief Justice, is one person who had even sworn in court that he has never taken a bribe, he will never take a bribe, and he doesn't have intention of taking a bribe, something that made him very, very popular. And people have seen him as a very honest man and a person who is really likely to bring changes. But the Guusi must decide. These two candidates are very, very good at the national level, but the Guusi must decide which card they play out. Because you cannot underrate the Guusi vote. Their vote is about 1 million. They must decide that who is going to receive this vote. Otherwise, they divide that vote, they lose it. So, who is likely to perform well nationally? Who is likely to receive a majority vote? Because running for presidency is not just a matter of running, it's a matter of winning that election. You can tell me what you think in the comment section. And between David Maraga and Fred Okengo Matiangi, who do you think is suitable? Who can attract numbers? Okay, let's go into details or tyranny of numbers. David Maraga will receive Gen Z vote. But can he receive the entire Gen Z vote? That's another question. The Kenyan politics is aligned in regions. You'll find that when a president comes from the Mount Kenya region, they'll pick a running mate from Rift Valley, Western, or Luo Nyanza. When Raila was running for presidency, he picked a running mate from Mount Kenya region. When Uhuru Kenyatta was running for presidency, he picked a running mate from Central region. And politics is aligned in regions, and these regions are made of tribes. Will the Gen Z consolidate their vote enough from these regions to say that, okay, I will not be voting for a person in my region? Let's say that, for example, Kalonzo Musyoka is running for presidency. Would the Gen Z of Ukambani say, okay, let's vote for Maraga because of the fact that we are Gen Z and we are tribalists, we don't have regions, we don't consider our regions? With the significant number of those Gen Z have the same opinion? As for me, not yet. People will still want to consider people from their regions. As much as the Gen Z vote is a good number, we have the country is made about over 70% of youths. That's about 65+% of youths. But with this youth vote for Maraga entirely, if they would vote for Maraga, then Maraga can win this presidency very early in the morning. So that's the first consideration is on the table. And the Guusi people, the Guusi Council of Elders, the Guusi community must think deeply about that before they decide to consolidate their vote and their support behind one of them. Okay, let's come to Fred Okengo Matiangi. Fred Okengo Matiangi is especially being fronted because of the commendable work he did in the ministry. And for Fred Matiangi, he has already shown interest to align with other coalition. He's been sending Onyonga, the Senate of KISII, to represent him in various when these principals are meeting. So he has already shown interest to work with other coalition. That is a strength in politics, because the Guusi vote alone cannot make you presidency. You must align with other communities. You must pick a national outlook. So when it comes to alignment of coalitions, Fred Okengo Matiangi stands a good chance of clinching that presidency if he gets a good coalition. Let's say, for example, if Rigathi supports Fred Matiangi, Uhuru Kenyatta becomes behind Fred Matiangi and they support him, they pick a good running mate like Natembeya or a running mate from Central, any other potential running mate, they will clinch that presidency, especially because of the national outlook of Fred Matiangi. So these are the two considerations of these two presidential candidates. Maraga depends entirely on the Gen Z vote. David Maraga depends on the Gen Z vote, while Fred Okengo Matiangi depends on the coalition alignment and his national outlook entirely, because Fred Matiangi cuts across the divide of elders, younger people, because of his performance. That's why he remembered. For the Kenani, Maraga is pushed by the Gen Z. You can tell me what you think in the comment section. I'll take my own time to read and give you a response. Do you think that Gen Z, the country has reached a point where Gen Z can entirely push their vote nationally without considering the principles from their regions? And remember that you are coming from a southern region. If you are coming from Mount Kenya region, there is Rigathi Gachagua. And there are other principals who are going to come out. There are a lot of presidential candidates who are going to run from that region. Could you consider following the direction of Rigathi? Or would you consider, like, I'm a Gen Z, okay, I'll vote for Maraga because I'm tribalist, I'm regionalist? That is the consideration you should put in mind. If you're coming from Ukambani, there's Kalonzo. If Kalonzo is running for presidency and Maraga is running for presidency, who are you likely to vote? Will you vote for Kalonzo, or will you say, because I'm a Gen Z and because I want transparency and honest, let me go for Maraga? All these regions are working like that. You can tell me your comment, your opinion in the comment section. I'll take my time to read and give you a response. Otherwise, stay safe and have a nice weekend. Waiting to hear from you in the comment section.